Top of the morning, afternoon, and the evening. It's the Wayne World Podcast. You know what it is. We gonna get that raw. We gonna get that real, that uncut. For so. You know it's your boy Ant Mo. For so. You know it's your boy Ant Mo. Boy, don't act like you don't know we love God. For so. Jip. For so. Alright, man, let's get into it. You know what I'm talking about? Top of the morning, the afternoon, and the evening to you, whomever you may be, wherever you may be watching, looking, or listening. It's your boy Ant Mo. Trapping out of bando. Whoa. Let me eat with your big baby. Welcome to Wayne's World. It's my middle name. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, we back. And we back. I'm doing it early today. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, this is episode 7 of the Wayne's World Podcast, man. We are back for yet another week, and I welcome you. My first time listeners, you come on back around now, yeah? You show them boys how you doing up in Harlem there, boy. And if you're a Wayniac, you're greatly appreciated. I love you from the bottom of my corazon. Listen, we use the bird in a hand is better than two in the bush philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Look, y'all rock with your boy every week. So, you know what I'm saying? All that means is that I am going to always work to be catering to show love to the people who rock with your boy every single week. Now, with that being said, the first time listeners may be wondering, what is the Wayne's World Podcast about? I'm glad you asked. It is a variety podcast for the Millennial and Generation X listener primarily. Now, we talk about all different types of things. You know what I'm talking about? Now, this just so happens to be a podcast about life and life experiences from a Christocentric standpoint. So I encourage you to stick around because anybody can listen. Now, I've never, when I started the podcast, I never envisioned it being for anybody in particular, but they say you got to be specific, so that's what we do. Now, for those first-time listeners, you may be wondering, what is today's podcast about? Kinfolk, let's call a spade a spade. You know what I'm talking about? Let's call a spade a spade. I will go into greater detail about that later on, what exactly that means. But for right now, I want to stop, and I encourage you guys to do a call of action. I have a website, and I've had it for a couple months, but I haven't done much with it. But I want to stop that now. So my call to action for the Wayniacs, the people who rock with me every single week, or you may not rock with me every single week, but you may let a couple weeks go by and then you binge listen. I have a few people that do that as well. I want you to go to waynesworldstore.com. waynesworldstore.com. Scroll to the bottom. There's a space for you to put your email in. Put your email in. It'll have you verify that you're a human, not a robot. You know how that go these days. And when you do that, you will be registered with me. Then it just gives me access to be able to let you know when we got little deals going on. There's a lot of things going on with the Wayne's World Podcast, and I just want to make sure that you guys get first dibs and you understand. Now, if you're a first-time listener, you rock with your boy, you resonate thus far, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Now, with that being said, let's get into some randomness. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, you random, huh? Random. You know what I'm talking about? So let's get into some randomness, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to go for a trifecta. We talking about MJ winning 3 championships in a row. Not literally. I'm saying that's what I'm doing with the randomness topic. Street culture. Wait a minute. Gang culture. Again. I had to. And I'm going to tell you why. Shout out to my boy Flo. Flo from DC. Flo from the DMV. You know what I'm talking about? My boy Flo from Kennedy Street. You know what I'm talking about? He made some very, very solid points as a guy who came from the street/gang culture. Now, we're not going to do this every week. This will be the last week that we put an emphasis on this. But I want it to be fair. I want it to be fair to all the trappers, all the rappers, all the people who have been living that lifestyle or have been in the lifestyle and maybe not are in it anymore. I want it to be fair to them because, listen, let me be honest. Some of the people that I admire and desire to meet in this lifetime come from the street gang culture. We got Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. We got Waka Flocka. We got 2 Chainz. They are all very astute businessmen, but came from the streets. Jamaica, Southside Jamaica, Queens. We both them Clayton County. You know what I'm saying? Like Southside, like them boys come from the struggle. You know what I'm saying? And so I just wanted to say that there are valuable things to be learned from street life. That if you have been in it and you are no longer a part of it, there are things that you can take from it, that you can glean from it. Now, that's not to say that street life is very much watered down, because it is. There are a lot of things about the street life that are less than noble. There are a lot of things about the street life that got very much turned over. Let's not forget that the Bloods and Crips both created organizations to help the community or to find brotherhood that they couldn't find from government or local officials, because it just wasn't set up that way for us to succeed in that manner. So we went from that to turf wars and people glorifying gangsters, and it's just that thing within us that won't that it's just a thing within us, I believe, that allows us to accept people who are true to who they are, good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, more so bad. A lot of the times in movies, if you think about it, you root for the gangster to win. You root for Bane to beat Batman. He got a certain swag to him. He carries himself differently. You more closely resonate to the guy who is hustling to trying to find a way to take care of his family versus the guy who has a job, who has the family, who comes home, not because you may not be living that lifestyle, but because you admire the hustler, the drug dealer, the gambler's ability to take chances, to take risks, to hustle. You know what I'm saying? To do something to get himself to a level that maybe you don't achieve if you just work for 40 years. So let me say that. But also, let me get an understanding that it's only valuable if you learn your lesson. If you never learn your lesson from street culture, if you never learn the good with the bad, then you're perpetually stuck in that cycle of doing dumb things, of going to jail and getting out, and people glorifying it but not really wanting to participate in it like you do. There are a lot of people who have been locked up for killing people, that have been locked up for selling drugs, and it gets glorified, it gets talked about in rap songs, but people don't send them money, people don't come visit them, people are petitioning to get them out of jail for wrongdoings. And so I just don't want us to get caught up in even how we used to be. We have to grow from what we come from. And that's my thing to Flow, is like, listen, I understand you came from the street, you came from the concrete. Kenfo, you came from DMV, you came from Kennedy Street, but you came from it. You're not running back to it. Even if you miss it, you're not going back. You got family now. You making money. You done found a way to take the hustle that you got from the streets and use it to make yourself a better man. You talk about let's chase vacations. Let's chase getting our first meal. Let's see who's gonna get a boat first. Listen, bro, your mind is not where it used to be. You've used the things that you've done to make you a better person. So all I'm saying is, the street life has value. It teaches us morals. It teaches us principles. It teaches us how to go get it and come back with it. But if we never evolve from glorifying it, then we lose a valuable lesson, and that's that we are all working to better ourselves continually. This all started from Bobby Smurder and 6ix9ine talk, right? The 6ix9ine, the fat rat with the cheese. Smurder did some what people would consider very honorable things and taking time for his man and things like that. I said that they were separate but equal, meaning whether you try to make street life and gang culture synonymous or not, all I'm saying is they both went to jail. They both did crimes. But the code by which they both live by is what separates them. Clearly, I'm not arguing that. Not arguing that. What Bobby Smurder did was considered way more honorable than what 6ix9ine did. But my point is, they're both criminals. Because I'm a criminal and I didn't rat versus I'm a criminal and I ratted, fine. That's where you can have the argument. But if you are out here and you stealing and you killing, you can say you're a product of your environment. That's fine. That's cool. I'm sorry to hear that. And hopefully you learn your lesson. Hopefully you have learned your lesson. Hopefully you're moving differently. But you still did crimes, period. And on some level or another, we are all guilty of something. So my bottom line is, take what the streets are teaching you. Take the things that you've learned about hustling, turning a 2 into a 4, a 4 into a 8. You know what I'm saying? Like long nights. I've always, and that's funny, you know, the thing that I've actually said for a long time is that hustlers are some of the biggest entrepreneurs there is. If hustlers and drug dealers and street guys like Nipsey can take that hustle that they have learned to live by in the streets and put it into a legit business, there almost isn't anybody that can stop you. Because unless you get to the top of the food chain, ain't nobody gunning for your life. Ain't nobody trying to take nothing from you except Uncle Sam. And once you learn how to do that, you've won. So to end that portion of randomness for the trifecta, the third week in a row, I do see the value in street culture because there are things to learn from it, but I don't glorify it. I come from the streets. I come from the hood. I don't glorify it. I acknowledge it. It represents a large portion of where I got my hustle from, besides my grandmother and the hustle that I saw in her, but that's where we leave it. We move on to some WAP, kinfolk, that WAP. Y'all know what that is. Don't try to front. Y'all seen the video 2-3 times. Matter of fact, let me say this. People are gassing this video like they've never seen a pair of boobs and butt in their entire life. We can't glorify that because it's Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. First of all, that's where Cardi come from. That was her. She came from the pole culture, kinfolk. And Meg been dropping it like it's hot since she got here. How do you think she got here? Let's not act like Meg and... See, that's the thing. Cardi rap better than Meg. Meg ain't the best rapper, fam. She just be talking that talk about lick it, swallow it, suck it, ride it, all that stuff. And a lot of women, the ratchet ones and the holy ones alike, can you know what I'm saying? They can understand it. They can relate to it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing. The second thing is the holy people, the Christian people that are trying to, now we doing YouTubes and we just so outraged. This ain't the worst thing we've ever seen. I'm not saying that you should be okay with it. You shouldn't sit your daughter down and watch it on family time. But I'm just saying it's not the worst thing we've ever seen. Let's be real here. Tupac Toss It Up video for the 80s babies. We seen Tupac Toss It Up video, kinfolk. That was the real deal Holyfield. That was something for the eyes to see if you want to keep a buck. If we want to really talk about it, BT Uncut for those 9th grade, 8th, 9th, 10th grade fellas of mine, 05 representatives, kinfolk. Them Uncut videos, them Nelly videos, come on now. We done seen some stuff, kinfolk. This ain't nothing. Cardi with the boobs out with the areolas covered up ain't moving the needle that much now. Let's just keep it a stack. But we are such a reactionary culture. When we see something like that, now all of a sudden it's gotta go viral. We gotta go nuts about it. Either way, the worst thing about our culture is that we have not been able to find balance. And the reality is that sex sells. It always has, it always will. Let me tell you something. I guarantee you that in this pandemic, the least of people's problem is how they was going to get sex. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Listen, folks, if I want to get to some poon tune, I'm gonna get to it. We are controlled by it at times, and so I just want us to understand that a lot of the times, if you go to the discovery section, you're gonna see a whole bunch of sex. If you go to Snapchat, you're going to see a whole bunch of sex. So let's just take a chill pill. Let them people do what they do. Watch my shoes. Get out the way. You won't get sprayed. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, we moving on, folks. Let's take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to get into you going to get these sports. You know what I'm talking about? Chill. Oh, yeah. Huh. And we back, and here. Yeah. Hey, this ain't no intro. This that entree. Did that intro with Kanye and sound like Andre. Trying to turn my baby mama to my fiance. Say, nice of you guys. You know what I'm talking about? Let's get into you go get these sports, bruh. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, man. So, let's start this thing off proper like. You know what I'm talking about? Lakers fans are mighty quiet right now. Kinfolk, it was like we went from dead silent to a whole bunch of people ranting about a whole bunch of stuff that don't even matter in the grand scheme of things. Okay, now I said, back in the gap, episode or two ago, watch out for the Trailblazers. They're going to make the playoffs, and they have a great chance of making a run no matter who they play. Now, somebody, you thinking what I'm thinking, Wayne? Can you tell me what's happening? Dame Dollar won MVP of the bubble. He comes out, and he gives the business like he normally does. CJ McCullough does his thing. You know, Melo is finding great pockets to be great like he used to be. I'm no savant here, you know what I'm saying? I'm not on TV getting paid to tell you these things. I'm just saying I know a little bit about it a little bit, you know what I'm talking about? Now, Damian Lillard, and I don't know why I've been struggling to say that name, but Damian Lillard, to quote the great Stephen A. Smith, is the best player in basketball right now. I'm going to tell you this. I'll tell you another thing. If they go up 2-0, kinfolk, tonight, you can hang them drawers up. Huh? Let them dry, because you'll be able to put them on in the morning. It's a done data. There's no way that LeBron James at 36, or however old he is, with J.R. Smith and whoever else he got on his team, it don't matter. I know he got AD, but I'm just naming all these other secondary players that are not going to do anything to curve the needle of the reality of what they got going on is going to be able to stop them from losing. I told you, let me say this one more time. I told you that Damian Lillard had a great chance, him and the Trailblazers, of beating the Lakers. Now, they could lose the series 4-1, but I seriously doubt that that's going to happen. They have J.R. Smith on their team, for crying out loud. The same guy who act like he never played basketball before against Golden State in the game number 1, the last time that they played him, and just dribbled around with the ball. Like, come on, man. The fix is in, kinfolk. The dude is well past his prime. He's not the player that he was with the Nuggets, nor the Knicks for that matter. He lost the ability to dribble a long time ago. Now you got Caruso and you got Kuzma that are having little to no impact, or they're not even their coach is not even knowing how to use them properly. It's confusing. And see, the problem that I have with this is that this problem has plagued LeBron James everywhere he's went. He's very top heavy, and then the role players are never what they can be. Miami was the best thing that they had at that time. Dellavedova was cool when he played with the Cavs and all that, but listen, to be able to get absolute great players around him and still have good role players, to have great superstars around him and then have great role players is almost impossible. They got rid of everybody to get AD. Now, how's that working out for you? I thought Kuzma was a dog, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, What's my guy that's playing for New Orleans? His name eludes me right now, but y'all know what I'm talking about, the tall one, Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is a dog, and I said that. When they traded him away, I'm telling you, I said, don't trade Brandon Ingram. He's young, he can dribble, he can shoot, he got heart. And they got rid of him, and now he over there with New Orleans balling out, like for real, for real. I'm just saying, man. I know a little bit. I don't know a lot. Kivo, listen. I'm just saying. For AD to be as a great offensive player and defensive player as he can be, he's not faced many moments like this. And it's hard not to defer to LeBron. That's the first thing. It's very hard not to defer to LeBron. And LeBron is a one-man show in a lot of ways. LeBron is a give me the ball, spread the floor, and let me do my thing type of guy. A penetrate and dish type of guy. He shoots too. But I'm just saying, that style of basketball that's cool when LeBron is young and athletic and all of that stuff. But that stuff ain't working now, fam. If you go down 2-0 to the Blazers, you're done for. All right? Now let's move on. Let's talk some Mavericks. Mavericks took game 2, and they got screwed in game 1. They had a great chance of beating the Clippers in game 1 if Porzingis doesn't get called, his second tech, and he gets kicked out on some nonsense. The key to victory for the Mavericks is the cohesion of their entire team. If everybody's hitting shots, if Trey Burke is hitting shots, and Tim Hardaway Jr. is hitting shots, and all those secondary players are hitting shots, they got a great chance. But just thinking that because Luka drops 42 or 50 even, that they're going to win, it doesn't equal the facts of the reality of the NBA. It doesn't equal wins. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kyrie Irving all show you that you can put up crazy stat lines and still lose games. The fact of the matter is that today's NBA is predicated on big-time scoring. It's just like the NFL. They start saying, hey, you can't hand check. Hey, you can't do this. You can't do that. Defense is devalued in today's sports because it takes away the excitement. Teams putting up 30 and 40 points a game in football, that equals fans and seats. That equals fantasy football points. Kyrie and KD and LeBron and all these guys dropping 50? Oh, that's something that you want to see on a regular basis. And I'm only saying that because, once again, Flo, just because Lucas has dropped 70 points in his first 2 games, yeah, he's elite in scoring. He's a great offensive player. He was already polished because he came from being a pro already. Doesn't matter. It wasn't the G League, but it doesn't matter that it was the second best league in the world. He still has been a pro since he was 13 years old. He knows his way around a basketball court. But just because he puts up stats or because he's a special offensive player doesn't mean that he's going to do great things in this league, like win multiple championships. And that's what I'm saying. This is once again me reiterating my point. He's a great player. I like him. But just like Giannis, I mean, you can be a special talent and don't win championships. And ultimately, that's what it's about. Look at Charles Barkley. Elite player. Didn't win a championship. The one stain that he has on his career is that he couldn't rise to the greatest occasion playing against Jordan. And I understand it's Jordan. I'm not trying to knock it, but I'm just saying. You listen, stats don't tell the whole game. Stats don't tell the whole story when it comes to winning championships. If that was the case, Melo would have a championship. One of the most elite scorers we've ever seen, and he doesn't have a championship. And now his greatest hopes are to get one riding the coattails of Damian Lillard. Didn't care about playing defense or being much of a team player until it was late in his career, and it's too late. So stats aren't the end-all be-all. Plenty of people are going to put up great stats. Doesn't mean that they're going to win. This league is more offensive than it's ever been. So that's all I got to say about it. Do me a favor. Holla at me after game 2. It's tonight. It'll be popping in a little bit, kinfolk. And we can talk. We can rap a taste, because all I'm saying is I kind of know what I be talking about a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that's all I'm saying. I don't know everything, but I know a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? So we gonna move on. And when we come back, we're gonna get into the meat of this thing. You know what I'm talking about? Stick around. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, yo. We back in this thing, you know what I'm talking about? And it's time to get into the meat of this thing, you know what I'm talking about? The main topic of the podcast for the day. And it is, let's call a spade a spade. As I say, let's call a spade, kinfolk. You know what I'm talking about? And so my idea behind this is another popular saying. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Hey, what's good for you is good for me. You can't hold me to something that you ain't going to hold yourself to, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? I can't hold you to something that I won't hold myself to. A lot of times we give ourselves outs on things based off of our circumstances or because of our mental state at the time. No. Let's just call everything even and down the middle. Give me the same opportunity that you would give somebody else. Hold yourself as accountable as you would hold me. And then we can make this thing all work. Charlemagne is hot take Jake. Joe Buttons is a tell-all kind of guy. He loves telling you his business. And y'all applaud him for it. Oh, look at Charlemagne. Look at him like be all off the cuff with it. Oh, look at Joe Buttons just tell us all his business. Ooh, tell me some more, Joe. Tell me about how you lick butt. Because that's the type of stuff that he does. But my problem is that Christians, y'all be out here watching lip service. Y'all know what lip service is too. Don't even cap. Angela Yee's show, lip service. She be talking about bungholes and areolas and sexual experiences and wops. She talk about all that gay stuff. That's what she does. And y'all still love Jesus, don't you? Y'all still love him. Y'all still profess him to be Lord, don't you? I'm talking to y'all like y'all granny or something. Y'all still love him. He's still Lord, right? He's still ruling and reigning in your life, right? So if that's the case, don't scroll by my page because, oh, Aunt Mo is just out here wild and he out of line. No, I say what I truly believe. I'm not a hot take guy. Charlemagne believes that everything that he says out of his mouth is what he really truly thinks. I say what I truly believe and what I feel. Not saying that the feelings are overdone, but I'm just saying what I really believe about people, about things, about my life. I share that with you because that's where I'm at. A lot of us, our culture is afraid to be real. We're afraid to tell people where we're really at. So we go and live lives on social media. We only post our highs. We don't post our lows. If we post our lows, we're scared because we think people are going to look at us different. When I made a podcast in season 2 about being molested, was it season 2? It might have been season 3. No, it was season 2. When I did my podcast in season 2 about my cousin molesting me, number one, it showed me that my family doesn't listen because they should have been the first people to be like, oh, what is he talking about? And ask some questions. Nobody asked me a question. That was funny to me. It don't hurt, but it's just reality. You know what I'm saying? Like the closest people to you usually don't support you. We already talked about that a lot of times. But it also made me feel less than because I'm like, this is my heart that I'm sharing. This is an experience that, true enough, I don't really feel like it affected me personally. Kinfolk, it wasn't until I got divorced and went to an actual clinic just to get tested to make sure I was good. Because I was sure I was going to have some type of sexual experience. Let me just be real. But that the woman told me, you got molested. If your cousin did that to you, she molested you. So sharing that with the internet, number one, some people may not agree with. Some family may not agree with that. But people have the right or can think things about you. They could think it was a man. and be like, oh man, he gay. Like all type of stuff. I'm just telling you the type of framework that could go through somebody's mind mentally when you are trying to heal, when you're trying to help, and when you're trying to be honest. And so all I'm saying is, and this is once again, Flo, hear me. I never do things for shock value. I am one of the few people who I truly believe I am called to do things like this for a time such as this. Because there are a lot of people just wanting to put on for culture. There are a lot of people that are wanting to just ride the wave and be present because of what's going on right now. But it doesn't represent who they truly are. I believe that who I am represents who I truly am. The way that I move right now in this moment, how I'm talking, who I am, that's what I do on a regular basis when I talk to my friends. I haven't said the N-word on this podcast, on this particular podcast, that I can remember, but that's just how it happened to be for this episode. But I don't cuss, but I do say nigga. And so I say that. So if somebody watches my podcast and they say, oh, he's supposed to be a Christian, he said nigga, I can't watch it. You fake. You just as fake as you think that I'm being as a Christian or whatever, because I guarantee you watch movies where people cuss. I guarantee you, Kinfolk, let me say this. There are hundreds and thousands of babies born every day. And in 6 to 8 weeks, those same babies are being dedicated at churches. And half of those people aren't married. So what does that say? Kinfolk, y'all out here knocking boots and y'all giving up them skins. Y'all out here fornicating. But is somebody pounding you over your head telling you how fake you are because you still go to church? No. Christians are actually more embraced for doing dumb things these days, because if you can't beat them, then join them. You know what I'm saying? I am a person who I could be honest with myself and embrace the fact that sometimes I wake up, Kinfolk, I'm not a morning person. Not sometimes, I'm never a morning person. I got to get me a couple minutes to get my head together. I'll be a little groggy, you know what I'm saying? And it's been like that since I was in like the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Like, truthfully, I hated getting up in the morning and I hated going to school. Sometimes I can be antisocial. I'm more social than antisocial, because if I'm not speaking to people in the morning and I'm not joking around and high-siding and capping with people, they think something is wrong. They know something is wrong. Sometimes I just be chilling and I just like, hey, I just want to do my work and get up out of here. But sometimes it may be something going on, or it might just be I'm not woke yet. And when I'm woke, you're going to know it because you're going to hear me. You know what I'm talking about? Could be no. You know what I'm saying? You hear that? You know what I'm talking about? You know I'm woke then. So I'm saying, what's my point? Don't get comfortable in your sin. Don't get comfortable being who you've always been, but be honest about where you're at. Because maybe, just maybe, somebody can get healed. Maybe you can get healed from some stuff you've been dealing with since you was a kid, or some things that you dealt with that were tough for you. Maybe it'll help you to share so that you can help somebody else, or help yourself for that matter. Now, I'm not saying just, all right, you a dude and you like, well, I like men and I'm in there, Kinfolk. I'm on Grindr every night. No, that's not what I'm saying. Be real about where you're at. I mean, now, if you're a Christian, I'm saying go talk to somebody you love, you know, you trust, be honest with them, and then y'all can pray through that thing. You can get the help you need. Now, if you just out there and that's the way you live and you're not a believer, that's your choice. I would encourage you to make some different decisions, but that's your choice. But I'm not even saying that I'm anything like my podcasting counterparts in the fame, in the likability, or the content for that matter. But those people are who they are. And they display that without shame, without guilt. And the same people who may look at me a little different, embrace them. Somebody that I know and love was listening to that Jenny Aiko. They were listening to that Jenny Aiko, that I forgot the name of the song, kinfolk, but it's about some type of that P something, P power or something. And I'm like, I thought it was funny. No, actually, I thought it was funny. I wasn't mad about it. And she's a Christian. I'm not talking down on her. I'm laughing because she know who she is, but don't nobody else know. And I know she gonna listen. And it's funny. But I'm just saying, I didn't look at her sideways. Some of us got a whole bunch of skeletons that just build up in our closet, kinfolk. And if Jesus wanted to come back and put flesh and bone on them like he did in the one scripture, kinfolk, boy, you'll have an army come up out your closet. But we decide to look at the people around us and judge them and look down on them for being human. I'm not saying if you're somebody who professes to be a believer and you flaunt being overly sexual on social media, or you openly talk about just doing drugs and loving it. It's a difference. It's definitely a difference. All I'm saying is, and I'll tell you another side thing. It's so easy for me as a believer, as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a provider to be like, I ain't that bad, kinfolk. I really ain't that bad. I just be having an attitude every now and then. I really ain't that bad. Sometimes I just say, nigga, don't get comfortable. Don't get so comfortable that you just shrug off, the things that you need to work on or that you need God to work on in your life. Some of y'all love porn as believers. And y'all know you ain't supposed to be watching no porn, kinfolk. But if I went to your laptop or your phone, you'll be real humble. So all I'm saying is, give me a hug, kinfolk. Embrace me. Huh? This is who I am. I love you. Love me. You know what I'm talking about? That's it, man. Like, I want the opportunity, because I'm going to be honest with y'all. Listen, this podcast, like I said in the beginning, is for the Millennial and Generation X listener. Primarily Christians, because we are the ones who struggle with our identity the most. We struggle with who we are. I'm not saying me, because I know who I am. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. But a lot of us are still figuring out, even in our 30s, which the big thing is that most people don't even, like, some people think that it's a bad thing to be in your 30s and still be discovering who you are. Jesus walked into his ministry at 30 and died at 33. Let's not spit on that. As long as you're steady working at trying to figure out who you are and what God is calling you to, who you're supposed to be, I could never look down on you. Ever. But just embrace people for where they are at, because you're not better than them. You are who you are. So if I ain't looking down on you for you watching your porn, I'll hold you accountable. I will love you, but don't look down on me because I say nigga, because I'm let's call a spade a spade. If it walk like a duck, talk like a duck, it's a duck, kinfolk. That's all I'm saying. And give me a hug when you see me. You know what I'm talking about? Kinfolk, listen. When we come back, I got a question of the day for you. That's a new thing that we adding in right before the outro. And then from that, we're going to go into the outro, and then we're going to get up out of here because we got some stuff to do. We got some TV to watch. We got some Call of Duty to play. You know what I'm talking about? We'll be back. Peace. Jill, we back, and we're going to go right into the question of the day. Now, my boy TJ gave me the question of the day last time, and he gave it to me months ago. Admittedly, I apologize that it took me so long to get it out, but I encourage you guys to do what I said earlier and, send me go register, or even send me an email or voice memo on the Anchor app, so that way we can get into some communication and you can offer up questions for me to answer and to pose to the world. So my question is, what is the biggest regret that you've experienced in your life? And if you can tell me what your biggest regret is, can you change it? Is it something that you can redo? If you can't redo it, fine. But if you could redo that regret, what would that regret be? What would you do differently? What is your biggest regret of your life? And don't be out here talking trash about people either. I would have never married that trick. Don't tell me nothing like that. I don't want to hear that bull crap, okay? Or phrase it differently. I probably would have moved differently and wouldn't have got married at such a young age. Something like that. But don't be out here trashing folks now. So, what is the biggest regret of your life? And if you can change it, what would you do differently to change it? Alright? Alright. So listen, famo. We are getting into the outro from here. We keeping this train rolling. Let me say this before y'all start wanting to click off. Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned to the very end. Let me say this. I appreciate y'all for sticking with me, for sharing, for listening, for offering opinions, for looking forward to the show. You guys are invaluable and I love you so much. I am going to put every social media link that I have in the description below. So I want you to go follow me on all those social media outlets. I want you to share the podcast. I want you to give me a review and give me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may be listening to the podcast at. Now, if you don't have Apple Podcasts, we'll figure out something else for you to do. But the person who follows me on all social media outlets, who shares the podcast, who gives me a 5-star rating, gives me a comment, feedback, and registers on the website, you get a $25 gift card or straight cold hard cash. That may not mean much to a lot of people, but we in a pandemic, and some people could use $25 cash or card. So do that and reach out to me to let me know that you did it. And we'll give it a week. We'll give it 2 weeks. I might change it, but so do it as soon as possible. But I'm gonna give it 2 weeks. I might end it by the next podcast. But we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna see how it go. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate you. Y'all know what this is. I don't got no words, man. I'm just appreciative of y'all, man. I love y'all from the bottom of my corazon. Y'all know what this is. You have been listening to the Wayne's World Podcast with your boy Aunt Mo, and y'all know how I end every podcast. Life is hard enough, so don't just live. Live elevated. Until next week, I love you. Peace.